ever been to a sporting event or a public place and noticed someone who appears underage using a vaping device? Well, your assumption of being underage is likely to be correct. Today, I'll be telling you a little more about how common and overlooked nicotine usage is in underage people. According to the CDC, nearly 1 in 5 high school students have reported using e-cigarettes in the recent years. That means vaping has become one of the most common forms of nicotine usage among teens. But it's not just about the numbers and doing it at an illegal age. Vaping can cause long-term damage to developing lungs, lead to nicotine addiction, and even increase the risk of further substance abuse. Because your brain's still growing until your mid-20s, exposing it to nicotine can disrupt important brain development and affect attention, learning, and impulse control. My interest in underage vaping was struck up when I entered my high school bathroom during a football game and noticed the foggy air and smell of fruit. I knew nearly all of the students in the restroom were not of age. With me taking so many medical classes in high school, I immediately thought of all of the terrible effects that vaping could have on their brain and body, and even the people in the room getting secondhand smoke. Vaping is extremely overlooked since it has become so common and normalized in this day and time. The reasonings, the effects, and the simple solutions of vaping will be discussed today. First, I'm going to tell you about a few reasons teens begin vaping. A huge number of teens who choose to start vaping struggle with things mentally. So they look for a coping mechanism and they choose vaping. When you're in a dark place and you feel so alone, you will do anything to get attention, and while you are around these friends, vaping can get you the attention you feel you need. Nicotine stimulates the release of dopamine, known as the feel-good neurotransmitter, which can create a sense of pleasure or relief. For someone who's dealing with mental health struggles, this boost can feel especially attractive in the time being. Many people facing anxiety, depression, or other mental challenges turn to vaping as a way of self-soothing or to relieve stress. The nicotine in e-cigarettes can create a temporary calming effect, which might feel like a quick fix for the feelings that you are feeling. But they hold a long-term effect on key parts of your body. Next, I'm going to tell you about the effects of vaping. Vaping is viewed as an addiction. However, it's not just the only effect. So many say an e-cigarette is better than a cigarette. However, they don't know all of the long-term effects with them being newer to the market. A few things vaping is known to cause is asthma, lung scarring, organ damage, addiction, depression, and all the terrible things that come along with withdrawals, and even fires and explosions. The teen brain is still forming and strengthening connections called synapses between brain cells. Nicotine disrupts this process, which can affect the parts of the brain which focus on attention, learning, and impulse control. Nicotine exposure can impair a teen's ability to focus and learn new information. Vaping interferes with key neurotransmitters that regulate attention and can harm the parts of the body and regions that focus on memory. A lung that has been exposed to an e-cigarette versus one that has not will be shown here. And this is the healthy lung that's never been exposed to nicotine, and this is the one that has. And you can just see the difference there. Now I'm going to tell you the things that you can do to prevent people from starting to vape and how to help the ones that are addicted. Before you begin to or continue to vape, imagine how your guardian would feel if you were to suffer from the side effects. How would you feel if your child were partaking in these activities and you had to pay all the medical bills, potentially dealing with the legal issues of them breaking the law, which is underage substance use, and so many more things that come along with vaping? If you start to look for a distraction or a way to just get a dopamine effect you are wanting, or even if you're just wanting attention, look into things such as working out, drawing, or interacting with animals at your local shelter. If you have already began vaping and just don't know how to stop, talk to your school guidance counselors. They are likely to get you started with your local drug coalition that most towns have. They have so many things to help you stop. If you don't want anyone to know about your use of nicotine, look into the apps you have available on your cellular device, or try to surround yourself with people who do not participate in these activities so you are less likely to do so. Now that you understand all the negative effects of vaping, and you will not start if you have already begun. Today, I have talked to you about just a few of the negative effects of vaping and why you shouldn't start or why you should stop. These are the effects, some of the effects on your body, others around you, and what you can do to stay away or stop. I hope that because of this speech, you have learned a little more about the underage vaping. Next time you think about picking up a vape, remember all the things that you are putting yourself at risk for. Hopefully, this has helped de-influence your decision on vaping and encourage you to never start. We need to draw attention to this problem as soon as possible to prevent addiction, stop the ones that have already started, and worsening of medical issues. Thank you.